Welcome to the Phoenix Recap. This segment will be bringing you the match analysis from the Johnny Mini Season 1 Episode 8. Finally, we have all our 8 champions, leading to the Night of Champions. As we conclude the FC25 series, we will be bringing you match analysis on how all the players played up to the final and the semi-final. At this point, there's nothing that did not happen at the Johnny Mini Season 1 Episode 8. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Imaji. It's been great having you. It's always great having you here. Before we dive into the matches itself, I want to speak about the Nigerian gaming scene. When people speak about gaming, mostly as Lagos as it is, they say it's center of excellence. We hear a lot of people saying, okay, Lagos gamers. But compared to, let's look at the episode 6, for example, King Nonix coming all the way from Benin. What does that speak about the talent pool, not just in Lagos itself, but as Nigeria as a whole?
My experience, I have noticed that Lagos, we have the most gamers, but when we have someone who wins from like a different state, like Benin, Calabar, Abuja, I notice most of the time they tend to be very, very good. So it's like, let's say we have the majority of good players, and then there are some areas where anybody that's coming from there are very strong in the competitive scene. So I'm guessing the likes of Nonex and our season 8 winner, which we will talk about,
That's really great, because we've seen them come and shock us time and time again, and I'm really happy about that, because it shows that gaming is not just growing just in Lagos, but also other parts of Nigeria also, and hopefully something that we're able to see going forward. Just to even speak on it before, as we go into the semi-final between Wole and Wolevation and Femzy, can we quickly speak? I spoke to you before about Wolevation. Can you quickly speak on how he has been in the gaming space?
So I've known Wole for a while now. He was in the scene for a certain time frame, and then he left. So he came back, and I saw an Instagram notification. I saw PSM season 8, and I saw his face. I'm like, oh, my guy is back. And he got to top 4, and we'll discuss a lot about his journey in the season 8, and I'm happy to see him.
That's really great, because at least we are seeing that people, even though at least he left before, he still came back to at least show that he's still one of the best. Yeah, let's quickly dive into the game between Wolevation and Femzy. Coming into this game, would you have expected the game to be so tight?
I would not want to trash talk on anybody, but I know Femzy, I know Wole, and Wole, like I said, when he was playing, he was out there, he was competing in different tournaments, and I've seen him win a few tournaments, whereas when Femzy is like, I'll say he's in the community. It's people like him that build up the community. He knows about the game, but I was expecting Wole to, like the goal margin to be more than what it is.
Oh, that's good. You spoke about Femzy. I spoke to him even during the Phoenix recap for the top 8, and he's also a streamer, as you said. He's also in the community also. Yeah. Just looking at that game, so what are some of the things that you noticed from Femzy in how he played?
So watching that game, I noticed Femzy he had a fast tempo, and he liked pushing the byline. He was very focused on wing play and recycling back to the middle. What I'm saying right now, it will be very common in a lot of games we're going to analyze today. But Femzy was very good at running down, recycling back to the middle, finding quick passes to the strikers, and scoring goals.
Yeah, you mentioned about him using the byline and his fast quick play, but compared to Wole also, he's also someone, you also noticed something about him being a fast tempo person in terms of his build up. Can you also speak on that?
Wole has a quick build up. He doesn't like holding the ball as much. He's fast paced, a lot of driven passes in his gameplay. He's a very meta player. He likes doing a lot of travelers. I'm surprised he didn't do a lot of first time through balls. I was expecting him to do a lot of first-time through balls, but he's a meta player, like I said, and he's fast in his build-up.
Yeah, just to stick to Wale again. In the first half, we noticed that he struggled in terms of his build-up. And was that down to how Femzy played, or it was at that moment he hadn't gotten the grasp of the game? Because I know, as you know, in the semi-final, there's always this pressure. I think pressure is something we're always going to speak on. Pressure, composure, how you are able to handle it at that moment. But what can you speak on that?
I can't say much about that. I would, in my own opinion, I would think maybe because he has been out of the game and is coming back, so maybe it's a little bit rusty. Because I used to know him as a very disciplined player as well. So, you know, he knows what to do at different times in the game. In the early stages of the match, he wasn't building up properly. He was rushing his build-up to the extent whereby he was even finding it hard to cross his half. And then Femzy was the one that was being correct. And he had a game style which was going down the wings with Vinicius and running down and trying to create space in the middle by dragging out the defense. And it was working for a long time in the game before Wale kind of adapted and started doing his own thing.
Yeah, you mentioned the byline. Also, that's something you also noted for Wale also. You noted in the game that his wing crossing down, the wing recycling to the middle. Because I know at moments there are various ways certain players play, and they most likely try to choke that middle so that you are able to. So that automatically forces you to go to the wings. But how will you say you can counter that to actually even break down the middle?
So in FIFA right now, like going through the middle takes a lot of skill solely. Right? If you want to string a couple of passes and try and beat your opponent, just going solely through the middle is harder. That's why I see a lot of players like going to the wing first. Because going to the wings, there are a lot of mechanics in the game that makes it favor you while attacking. So for example, if I'm running down the byline and my opponent is pushing out his left back or wing backs to wherever I'm at, if I recycle back to the middle, now I have a lot of room to work with, and because of that I can string a couple of passes and get the ball to my strikers and create a goal.
For the goals that we scored, the game was 2-1 in the end.
Yeah.
But did you think that Femzy could have done something extra to at least get him a win in that game?
There were a couple of times in the game where Femzy had chances and he was missing those chances. You know, there was one, I think in the 70th minute, where he had a one-on-one with Mbappe, and he shot it near post, and Wale guessed right and was able to save the chance. There was another one too. It was a scramble in box. So to me, he created chances, but he didn't finish. And finishing is a skill gap in FIFA. Some people can finish. Some people are bad at build-ups. Some people are good at defending. You must be well-rounded in FIFA to excel. That's really great. That's really great insight from both players. And in the end, we saw Wolevation moving on to the final. Yeah.
We're moving into the next game. The next game, I feel, it's one that has, compared to the game between Wale and Femzy, not to disrespect them, but this game had a lot of things to speak about. We'll be bringing you back with the second semi-final very soon. That was Imaji giving us the knowledge as usual. They call him teacher, but he's also here to school us on how the game is also played. Also, we're bringing you back with the second semi-final between Zadok and Chukzjunior. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Phoenix Recap. We brought you the first game between Wolevation and Femzy. We'll be diving into the second semi-final game between Chukzjunior and Zadok. One could say it's a game between a veteran and a rookie. In this case, Chukzjunior being the veteran as he has attended various episodes of the Journey Minutes up until this moment, and Zadok being a first-timer. Imaji is really great when we have all these stories, because you know how life is. You're someone who might have been an experienced player, might not end up being the one who qualifies or eventually wins a match. Just a short story. During the tournament itself, players like Flick and Yemi XP had been knocked out, and everybody was shouting that Chukzjunior, Otaker, do it for the Otakers. So, but how can you speak on Chuks and how he plays and how he has been in the gaming space?
So I have a story on Chuks and how I met Chuks a couple years ago and how he came into the gaming space. So I met Chuks. Somebody set up the meet between me and Chuks. Apparently, he was beating some people in first tag. He was just beating everybody and collecting everybody's money. And like one of my guys, like, yo, this guy is beating everybody. Like, come and play this guy. And then I go there, and then like I said, they call me teacher, so I have to show them some things. You know? So this is like 4 years ago. So I added him to the gaming community, and he's been a very good member of the gaming community. He's brought in so many people, so he's my friend as well, and I respect him as a person. Yeah.
That's really touching story. It just shows how the gaming community brings a lot of people together, and it's something that has been growing from time to time. I just won't speak on Zadok also. I mentioned earlier about how the gaming space attracts people not just from Lagos, but in this case, Zadok here being the man from Calabar. The first time I hear the Johnny Minis, it's just like Nonex that I mentioned previously. It's something that when you come to this place, especially when you're unknown, people might not know how you play, but how does that play into how gamers like that attack the game?
So Zadok, right, being from Calabar, this is probably the second person that is coming from Calabar to Lagos to win something. There's only one person I know, he's my friend as well, that has done that. And I'm happy to see that other places are picking up the culture as well, you know, and they are coming to Lagos and trying to prove that we are out here, we're not scrubs and we're not weak. Yes. And they're doing a very good job. Now for Zadoks and Chuks, I don't even know what Chuks will be thinking, because nobody knows who Zadoks is. And then, but watching the game, he took a very good approach to the game, and we'll be talking about it as time follows.
That's great, yeah, Imaji. Yeah, let's dive into the game proper. Chuks took the lead in this game, something that a lot of people would have expected. But let's speak about some of the things you noticed in this game. Speaking on Chuks also, one of the things you noted was the good ball progression, how he built up. Can you quickly speak on that?
So Chuks has a slow build up. He doesn't like losing the ball at the back. That's discipline for most people. He has a good pass selection. He knows what kind of passes to make. And all this I'm saying came into play, especially from minute 1 to like 40. He was hands down dominating the game. He made a cross to his striker, and he used the borrow. A lot of people don't know borrow is a very, very good tool in the game. Borrow is sometimes used to delay runs before making the pass. It makes your passes accurate as well, and it's good for finding angles to make the pass. So he used that mechanic, and he was able to get a goal. And then he was playing well, picking up on his opponent's mistakes, and as well throwing a couple of long passes. I really enjoyed the way he played the game. Yeah,
he started the game properly, but as you know, in the FIFA gods can switch things to not be in your favor at some point.
Yeah.
Another moment, the goal that Zadok used to equalize.
Yeah.
We saw how Chuks moved his DM away from that position, and he just created that space.
Yeah.
Well, how can you speak on that also?
So the goal, Zadok was building up, and Chuks was defending well at first, and then Zadok was going towards the wings. Chuks had a wing back there who he could have used to just shadow mark, but he wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and double team. And then he took his DMs towards the wing, and Zadok's recycled and found Mbappe in the middle. So it's like a 50-50 whereby it's like, okay, should I commit my DMs there, or should I leave my DMs in place and run back with my midfielders? For me, there's a balance to it. Sometimes you might have to double team, but rarely. Most times I would advise you running back with your midfielders to make sure that you keep the structure of your formation. And Chuks, at that point in time, decided to push out his DM, and it cost him a goal. So
Mbappe, you mentioned, a lot of people use France, Madrid, and the 95 rated for this tournament, and it is also a deadly weapon. At that moment, it's easy. At first, you are winning 1-0, game goes to 1-1, but you're still in the game.
Yes.
But at this moment, we saw something that we might not really even associate with Chukzjunior, with how he plays. He lost composure at that moment, and it led to Zadok taking the lead. But what will you speak about? Because at that moment, I know when we were watching the game, you mentioned something of the directional run. Can you quickly go into that?
So there are a lot of players in the scene who would argue whether to use player lock or directional runs, and depending on what you're familiar with, both of them are very great tools to have. Now, for the directional runs, the AI do not respond well to directional runs, and Zadok was fond of doing a lot of directional runs and picking those passes. That's a very good skill gap to have, and throughout the entirety of this game, he was doing it multiple times, and Chuks wasn't responding well to it, and that showed in the game. Yeah.
That chance didn't lead to a goal, but let's speak on the counter-attacking game from Zadok in that game. It was one. Vinicius was on another level for Zadok in that game. You spoke about how he used to trigger the run with the L1. Yeah. How important is it for people to know how to trigger runs at the right moment?
So there's this staple thing that pros do is when they are defending and they finally get the ball, they will trigger one of their midfielders. Right? Triggering in this game, you don't necessarily need to look at the player to trigger the runs. You can be facing anywhere and then you trigger the runs. And as the player's run is maturing, they will throw a pass maybe from the DM to the cam and then to the striker, and then you see a final pass to the wing. And that's like the staple. And Zadok apparently was using this every single game. That was like his staple move. Once he gets the ball, he's triggering Vinicius, and he's buying himself time in the midfield by just turning. But his eyes are on Vinicius, and if you don't pay attention to that, he will punish you. And he punished Chuks, as you can see in the game.
At that moment, it's 2-1. Everybody in the arena at that moment, because I was commentating on the game with my man Manny, everybody was shocked. Because at the beginning, people were like, oh, Chuks, yeah, Zadok, we don't know him. But everyone was rooting for Chuks, but the game was 2-1. But as we showed, OG is an OG. Chuks came back into the game. Kindly speak on the build-up for the second goal.
So Chuks ran down the byline, which is unlike him, because he was doing a lot of long passes and baiting his opponent. So he ran down the byline, recycled back to the middle, threw a couple of quick passes. So those quick passes are just meant to make you think. Like, as an OG, you know exactly what I'm saying. When somebody recycles back to the middle, he can string like 3-4 passes among his CMs. All they are doing is they're trying to buy time for the striker to get into place, or just trying to get a passing lane to the striker. And Chuks finally got it, and it was a quick turnaround, and he scored.
At that moment, it's 2-2. Chuks was back in the game. Yeah. I can tell you that his fans here were like, the game is over for Zadok. but next thing, the man from Calabar said, I will not be defeated. And the goal for 3-2, that fake shot. When we watched it, we were shocked, because at that moment we thought he was going to take the shot the first time. Yeah. But that fake shot deceived Chuks. And just take us through the whole gameplay, because even me myself, I'm really happy with it. So it's something that I might add to my game, because you learn from others also.
So I watched this clip maybe like 3-4 times, because I was trying to see how he got the pass to Vinicius Junior. And like I said, Zadok uses a lot of manual player runs in his build-up, and that build-up was almost perfect. He was patient, and he picked his pass perfectly, and then he passed the ball to Vini, and you expect him to like make a first-time turn and shoot, and then he does a fake shot. Like I said, in FIFA, like, no information is too much. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of tools and skill moves you could use. a basic fake shot is enough to send your opponent running, and Zadok was able to perform a fake shot, and Chuks gets the wrong way, and he finished properly.
So, finishing properly, he was clinical also, and at this moment, that was what booked his slot in the final of the Journeyman Season 1, Episode 8.
Crazy.
He showed that maybe the time for the old takers are over in the tournament. but that's great. But one thing I don't feel people speak about a lot is game management, and I think that was something we also saw from Zadok also, because we see people go up 3-2 and the next thing they are still trying to score the next goal. Yes, it's good to score goals to at least secure that, but game management is also important. That I feel that's one thing that we could applaud Zadok for. What can you speak on that?
He was on a mission. He came all the way from Calabar. He didn't come here to smile. He didn't come here to play. He knew exactly what he was going to do, and watching him, he showed he has competitive experience to a certain degree. It might not be on the biggest of stages, but you could tell by watching him play. It was very conservative in the final minutes of the game. He didn't waste his possession. He would try and drag you out and punish you for it. So I enjoyed watching his gameplay. I hope to see more of him during the Night of Champions.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That was a game between Zadok and Chukzjunior, an OG against a newbie here at the Johnny Minutes. We'll be bringing you right back with the final between Wolevation and Zadok. Please stay tuned as we bring you that analysis. For every final, there has to be one champion. There was one disappointment in this final, but in the end, a low-scoring game, but an interesting one tactically. Imagine we were coming to the end of this segment, and I don't want to let you go because it's been great having you here and speaking to you also. In this game, it was a low-scoring game, but there was one we noticed few things, and not to, as if we're repeating ourselves again, it's something that is common with Zadok's game, the triggering of your wingers. He used that like a soap in this game, and it was something that was effective for him. Just quickly speak on that again.
So, like I said, Zadok's, anytime he's defending and he wins the ball in his half, the first thing he's doing is triggering his midfielders, especially Vinicius. Maybe that's his favorite player. But he's fond of triggering Vinicius, and if you do not see it on time, he will punish you for it. And you see it staple in his gameplay that's what he was doing a lot of times.
That's great. That's great. Just something else that I think is common, but it's also, you have to be a master of the act. And that's when it comes to pressing. I think this is something we noticed from both players on how aggressively they press. Can they speak on how they attack this game in that respect?
This was a high-tempo game. Both of them wanted the ball. Both of them were very aggressive. They didn't hold back, and the use of teammate contain was like they used it very well. They didn't, like, there's a way you use teammate contain whereby you don't pull out too many defenders. He used it at the right time, right moment in this game. And I commend both of them for their level of learning that particular skill, because it's needed in the highest level of the game. Like, the AI is your friend. That's what people don't understand. A lot of people will be like, oh, he's not defending. Like, you need to utilize the game mechanics at the fullest to be like a top contender in the game. So you need to learn how to use AI. A lot of people complain about the AI, but there are ways you can use the AI to your advantage. And watching their game, you could see that they were utilizing it to their advantage. Yeah. You
mentioned about them utilizing their chances, and in this moment, we saw the goal from Zadok to take it. They go the match 1-0 up.
Yeah.
It's at that moment. If you were here in the arena with me, if his fans that came with him, his friends in Lagos that introduced him here, you see how they were shouting. It was as if they won themselves. But what does that? How do players? You have people who support you also in terms of the gaming space. But at that moment when you are leading, do you think about what people are saying outside, or how you're celebrating, or does that does it even come into play at all?
Me, I really don't care whether the person is celebrating or not. Though. I'm not even going to lie. If you like, jump up and scream. That one doesn't concern me. Like I'm in the game. Maybe after the game, I can be worried about what happened. But as so far I'm playing the game, my aim is to try and win the game and figure out what exactly is going on in this game and use it to my own advantage. So some people, they feed off crowd, hate, and celebrations. For me, I don't pay attention to that because it's irrelevant to me. Like, I'm very objective when I'm playing. So, if you also advise someone, I'll tell you to be objective. Because the fact that you're feeding off the crowd to some level is affecting your emotions. And to me, the way I see it, your emotions should be away from you. Just put it away from you and just be objective like you're doing a job and focus on what you need.
Yeah, and the job at that moment was for Zadok to score. We saw a recurring thing. He recycled the ball from the byline, passing the ball back to the middle, and it was a quick pass, and goal.
Yeah.
But how would you properly analyze that play?
It's a typical FC gameplay. I won't lie to anyone. Like running down the wings and coming back to the middle is one of the hardest things to even mark. I won't lie to you, because you need to do a lot of offside traps when they recycle the ball back to the middle, and your timing of the offside trap has to be perfect so that you don't give your opponent the chance to trade pass before the offside triggers. So it's not easy, and you have to cut passing lanes as well. So a lot of pro players use that to their advantage. And you'll notice that the higher skill level of pros, the less they will concede from such occurrences. That's the truth of the matter. The higher the skill level, the less they will concede from that. But this time around, Wole was not able to mark properly, and then Zadok punished him by finding the pass to the striker, as he always does. And he scored Wole.
But at that moment where you scored that one goal, I think last time we spoke, I mentioned something about it's you if you go behind. Are you to make a tactical change, or is it just you mentioned that it might just be how you are playing at that moment?
Yes.
But in this time now, you noted that Wolevation did not make any tactical change. Please speak on that.
So he considered a goal late in the game. I'm guessing the remaining time on the clock was 10 minutes and below. And watching the game, I didn't see him go to the custom tactics and commit players forward, looking for a counter-attacks, or even switch it to 100 depth to try and push.
100 depth, that's a lot sometimes.
I mean, you have nothing to lose. You're already losing the game. So what choice do you have than to go all out? I expected him to go all out. Like I said, use 100 depth, switched from inside forward balance to attack, put a lot of people up front, and in hopes that if you get the ball, you have a higher chance of scoring. I noticed he maintained his gameplay. He didn't try and go risky, and he paid the price for that as well. And I have another thing to say, because it's not necessarily that you would get the win if you go all out. But at this time in the game, you have nothing to lose. So why not go all out,
One thing we laughed about, something that people might say is a tricky move, is debating when it comes to 1v1. This is something that Zadok fell for.
Yes.
In this moment, with Wolevation bringing out the keeper. But I hear you're the master of that also. So we can speak on that. Hey, Imaji.
So this is also under the context of keeper movement and knowing what to do. I know how to do keeper movement. I'll use myself as an example, but most of the time, I don't like it getting to the stage where I have to use keeper movement. So one of the things you can do is to preemptively bring out the goalkeeper to force a reaction from your opponent in order for them to take the shot early or bait them into taking the cheap shot. And Wole did the exact same thing. He brought out the keeper, and Zadok decided to go for a chip. But me knowing fully well that there is no way he's going to score the chip unless he fully commits to the goalkeeper movement. So there are a lot of things like that. We call them mind games. It's almost every video games, and you need to know the mind games when it comes to FIFA to excel in FIFA.
And excel did Zadok in this final. It was a tight one with one goal.
Come on, go.
He will be what is needed to at least qualify as the last participant to the Night of Champions. Yeah, still on the Night of Champions. Yeah, just before we let you go, Imaji. At right now, it's been a glorious journey from March till this point right now. We've had 8 champions. Some not all from Lagos. We've had some big names fall out. Boyd, Flake, Yemi XP, Chukzjunior, who was not able to book his slots this last episode. But for you being someone who has participated also in the Night of Champions, last edition, if I may say, what was the experience for you? And what can you say to gamers to say, this is what you have to do, this is how your mindset has to be going into that place?
So the first thing I'll talk about is preparation. So you have a tournament of this magnitude, Night of Champions coming up. You managed to qualify. It wasn't easy. Now you're coming up to the big day. So preparation is key. You must believe that you did everything you could to get to where you are. That's having the right mindset. Because a tournament of this magnitude, we have players that won their own, episode. So this is not just like a random, these are all champions as well too. And for you to be the best, you need to believe that you are the best, prepare very well, and study your opponents. Nowadays, in the gaming culture nowadays, I really don't like the approach a lot of young players use. Because back in my time, I legit would study people and come up with tactics to beat certain people. And I don't see that often nowadays. People don't really have notebooks. I used to have notebooks. I had to have like 100 gig saved clips that I watch, So you have to study your opponents. Okay, for example, now people like Zadok and King Nonex, we really might not have much clips on them. So they are the lucky ones that have almost every footage on everybody else. So you go home, you check YouTube, whatever their name is, see their gameplays and try and figure out how you're going to play this certain person. And that's just how you have to think about it, because you have to have a very good mentality. Because gaming, most people think is skill. To me, I think it's 60% mentality. If you have that mental fortitude, you can be who you want to be.
Just to, I don't know if you knew this, but just to speak on that, that's something we're trying to bring back into the, because each player right now, before the Night of Champions, will be getting 5 matches each from all their opponents to be able to study that game. so there's no hiding. Because I think what you just mentioned, what you just mentioned is something I noticed at this concluded episode. Zadok, when I saw him, he was analyzing people who had, I think, I could say the game that he won in the final. It might have been a 1-0 match, but some people have said that he didn't study Wale's game because Wale never played on the main stage up until the final. Someone like Chukzjunior now, the borrow costume which you spoke about before, that's something he has seen Chukzjunior do constantly. I feel your point is actually very valid, because you just like real managers in real life. They study games, they play, these are the tactics I'm going to use. And it's something that hopefully helps someone at the Night of Champions. That's great. Just to put you on the spot before I let you go, who is your pick to win the Night of Champions?
So I'll be biased, right? But I'll have so one is just based on my emotions and my relationship with the person. Then the second one is just based on logic and what I know, right? So obviously I'll pick Adefola. That's my bias.
That's your bias pick.
That's my guy. That's my ride or die. So I'll pick Adefola. But if I was logical, there is an underground 95 rated king. Now most people don't know, apparently that is his game mode.
And the way you said that, is that beast?
So that's his game mode. That is what he plays. He knows the game in and out. So if, logically speaking, I'll pick him as a favorite to win this tournament.
A lot of people won't say that. So a lot of people will have mentioned Baji Junior, Adefola, they have mentioned. But it's really great to see how it goes down that night. That is really great having the studio, Imaji. We'll be bringing much more knowledge to the screen very soon. Yes, that's all from us from now, from the Johnny Me Season 1 Episode 8, the match analysis of the semi-final and final. It's been myself, Gabriel, and Imaji here in the studio. We've had laughs, we've had proper knowledge being shared. Just stay tuned. The Night of Champions, we'll be bringing more. Don't worry. A lot of things are going to happen. We have a lot of content coming out for you guys. You can follow us on PSM_NG on that day as the night champion. It's strictly by invitation, but you can watch from your homes to actually understand what's going on here. It's not going to be a play. A lot of players are coming with their talents, but still, as always, life is a game. Press play.